For Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser here with Coach Toriano Wells of General Trass, the Panthers, fresh off of a crazy 56-54 double overtime win against North Caddo in the second round of the playoffs, and now get a chance to come back home to Lake Providence and host number 4 seed St. Helena in what has been, a great season thus far, and I'm sure a lot of excitement now moving on to the next one. Coach, how are y'all doing this morning? Have you come down from probably the adrenaline rush at the end of that double overtime one on the road last week?
Well, when you watch St. Helena on film, you come down pretty quick because you realize your hands are full going into this next week.
I want to get into certainly this next one, and I also want to talk some about the big picture of some of the success of the program and some of the guys that have impressed you this year and just sort of the excitement of this season overall. But starting with that win Friday, going out to North Caddo and having to go back and forth that much in that one and come away with a crazy one, kind of take me through what that was like for you guys and what you feel like ultimately separated y'all to be able to be the ones that came out of that fight with the W.
Well, like I said, it was a crazy ball game, a lot of back and forth going on. But we blew opportunities to really put the game away. We dropped like 3 touchdowns in the ball game, but take nothing away from North Caddo and Coach Kavanaugh, his staff, and they're doing a tremendous job. They have some great athletes. Those guys run the ball pretty well. As a receiver, number 4, he's probably one of the best receivers we've seen all year. And I think he's only a sophomore, which is kind of scary. But in that ball game, it was a game of momentum swings. They jumped out on us early. We came back and back and forth both ways. Kid Whitehead Williams has really stepped up big for us playing quarterback. He took a big hit in the second quarter. We actually thought he was going to be gone for the rest of the night. But he said, Coach, I'm okay, I'm ready to go. And he came back in and delivered some key plays for us. But a guy, DeMontrell Quinn, he's been tearing things up this entire season. He has over 800 some yards rushing. He missed a couple ball games this year with a twisted ankle. And he helped us score 3 touchdowns Friday night. Kid Markel Norris played big on offense and on defense with a couple of interceptions. And the kid that's a sleeper on a lot of people's radars, a kid, Javier Campbell, who's about 6'1", probably like 175, like a 4'4", 4'5", 40 guy, playing wide receiver for us. And also we put him on defense now, and we got him to go against every team's best receiver. And he's been doing a pretty good job with us with neutralizing their biggest deep threat. So we had a lot of guys that stepping up. And what separated us in the ball game, we have everybody on our entire football team had to push their blocking sleds, like a 7-man blocking sled. So everybody had to push it like about 10 minutes at the end of practice. And this past Wednesday, we actually had them guys blocking a sled for like 10 minutes. And they thought the coaching staff was crazy. We told the guys, it may be some bad weather Friday. So we may have a weather delay and we have to stop the ball game and start back 30 minutes later. So we stopped practice like about 5 or 10 minutes and say, now it's time for us to hit the sled. And we pushed that sled about 10 minutes good, and they was tired and wore out. And so in the ball game Friday night, going to double overtime, our kids were still fresh and ready to go. So I'm glad it ended in the second overtime. But if we could have went 3 or 4, we probably been good to go. But we had a chance to win it with 5 seconds on the clock, but unfortunately, the ball player dropped the ball in the end zone. And we told the guys, we still in the ball game, it's not over. And they responded to the call.
Did any of those guys come off the field at the end of that and say, you know what, thanks for Wednesday, thanks for the extra sled work, Coach, it definitely paid off?
They said that the sled work paid off, but they said they don't want to do it no more. It was kind of tough on them. But they better believe we're going to be hitting hard and heavy today as well. So they're going to get this sled work.
I guess the perseverance that they showed, you mentioned from a conditioning standpoint and being ready physically, how much some of that work helped for them to overcome, I guess, that the early deficit and then to overcome some of the ups and downs and roller coaster aspect of that game and still be able to make the plays they needed to in overtime. What can you say about them from that mental or intangible standpoint and what you kind of attribute that perseverance through the ups and downs to come out on top too?
Well, Jared, the thing about it, this is a special group in this COVID world that we're in right now, and couldn't work out in the spring, was limited during the summer. We gave these guys a workout plan during the summer, and they actually executed the workout plan. We've had several people say they've even took videos, and people talk about how during the summer these guys was on the levee, running the levee in their yards doing drills. and they pretty much held themselves accountable when we was hands off with them. We couldn't do anything with them as a group. And so these guys responded when nobody else was watching. And that's what we always told them. You're going to be a championship ball club. You have to do what's expected of you, whether we're watching you as coaches or not. And this group has done that. And so when the conditioning factor came in, they've already put the work in. And so they had something left in store in their tank. And so it was able to pay off for us big dividends on Friday night.
As an overall group, are they a pretty veteran group, or is it kind of a mixed bag, or is it a young, talented group that's coming through and just, a few key senior leaders?
We have a few key senior leaders, but a bulk of the team are juniors. One of the things we did a couple years ago, we started a lot of them as freshmen. And so when we were losing, it's because we was playing a lot of young kids. And my old high school basketball coach, Mitchell Riggs, had a thing where he said, I'll lose a freshman this year, but in 2 years, we're going to be champions. And so that was our philosophy going with this young group of guys. We're going to start off early. We may take some lumps along the way, but we're going to start giving lumps later on. And so we have some good group of seniors, Roscoe Jones, Fred Mackey, like I said, Javier Campbell's a kid, Jamarian Stewart, awesome guys that are really stepping up and leading the ball club as seniors. But the majority of our guys are sophomores and juniors.
And so as much as that work during COVID probably showed you some of the potential there just in terms of their level of focus and commitment, this is something you've seen from them for a few years now, is that they had a chance to really do some special things here.
Yes, sir. We've said this group is going to be pretty special, even with our group of seniors. For 2 years in a row, we went 0-10, 0-11, losing the first round of playoffs. And then the third year, we went 4-6 and lost in the first round, finished 4-7. And so this group came in, and one of the things they said is that we're going to be winners one day. And so they saw the losing that took place, and they decided we're going to work hard to change the tradition and the culture around this program. And they've been doing that, including the senior class as well.
We talked some about that playoff win last week. You guys, I think, opened a lot of eyes around the state with the big win early in the season against Evangel. On nights like those, when you think about the work to get this program to this point, when you can go out there and you can beat an Evangel and open some eyes, you can go out there and survive a double overtime game in the second round of the playoffs and advance on to the quarters, how exciting and fulfilling and satisfying does that become for you guys as coaches, for those kids to see that work pay off, and really the community as a whole?
It's big. But a couple guys back in the we first got in Carlos Mosby, to Kalen Whaley, to Corian Taylor. This kid Roosevelt Turner, he's at Southern University playing ball right now, and he made a post the other night after the game. He said, "Man, I'm so proud to be a General Trass alumni, because he's part of the 0-11 teams. And his senior year, they wanted to win some games. They ended up winning 4 ball games that year. And so he said that he knew that this group was going to be special. And when you got kids that have been part of your program that's gone away and they still come back around and talk to our current ball players about, establishing some pride, leaving a legacy, building a program that can be respected throughout the state. So when we went to play Evangel, a lot of folks thought we was crazy. Even some of the coaches and myself as well. And I said, guys, what we're looking, we had some other things we could have played. But I said, we're going to ever be a state championship ball club. We got to start playing some pretty good ball teams. And at the time we scheduled Evangel, we didn't know what kind of team they had. But I said, it's going to be a win-win for us. Even if we lose the ball game, we can find something good out of it. And just to go up there and win a ball game against a program with the history that they have, it kind of let the kids know that we can play with anybody on any level. And that's one of the big things in the community, man. It's just great. After Friday night, I think I've had 50 friend requests on Facebook. We've had about 10 requests to feed the team a pregame meal throughout the week. We just try to tell them, guys, this is the second round. We're not through yet, so let's not overdo it. But the community pride is great right now. Throughout the entire United States, we got people from Atlanta, Georgia, Texas, California saying that they're going to come in for the ball game. And it's just something that the kids can take pride in, realizing that they've shifted the talk around Lake Providence.
That's awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
How much with all those alumni kind of getting excited and getting involved and reaching out, how much do either you guys talk to the kids, or do the kids hear about sort of the historical significance of this? You guys a couple years ago got the first playoff win in a while, in I think you guys are now as far as you've been since 1963 when you were state runners up.
Right.
How much is that sort of historical significance, something you talk to the kids about, and just kind of how do you frame that with them and what their opportunity is here and the significance of it all?
Leading up to that first playoff win a couple of years ago, we told the kids, one of the things we're going to say, guys, we want to host a playoff game. We want to do something that has not been done in Lake Providence in a long time. And so we was able to accomplish that. And before the game Friday, I actually got the seniors, and we walked around the track at North Caddo and told the guys, I said, look, we've been here winning one playoff game. And I said, after tonight, either we're gonna write another legacy or we're just going to be a one-win football team. I said, guys, this is your chance to put your stamp on the program. And I said, you can move it to uncharted territory. And so we was walking around. I said, what are y'all expectations? And they said, Coach, we want to go on to the next round. And I said, if we're going to go, you guys going to have to lead us. And so that I think that talk set the tone with those guys about what we need to do. And right now we talk to them all the time about leaving a legacy. What do you want to be remembered as a General Trass High School football player? That 10 years from when you come back here for your class reunion, you want folks to say, man, we was the class that did this that nobody else did. And that's what those kids accepted the challenge Friday. And when after the game, they took a picture of seniors and said, we're history makers, So those are the type of memories we want to create, that when they leave out, they can always say, I was a part of something big and special that changed our entire community. And that's what we're focusing on.
And you mentioned turning the page to this quarterfinal matchup and coming down off the high of a Friday night win was not difficult when you put on the St. Helena film. As you guys started preparing for this next one, what were some of the things that stood out to y'all, either about St. Helena that you have to kind of deal with this week and just prepare from a game planning standpoint? Or you mentioned a couple drops and things that you left on the field this past week that you're focusing on with your guys in terms of playing the best that this General Trass team can play?
Well, one of the things you look at the things that St. Helena does well, and you try to eliminate that. Coach Mitchell and his staff has done a tremendous job down. Those guys aggressive, they fly to the ball. Offensively, they have a quarterback that's pretty good and some receivers that can really go down the field. But one of the things we always tell the kids is that it doesn't matter what other teams do. It's about how we perform and how we execute. So we can minimize our mistakes, don't do anything to hurt ourselves, and give ourselves a chance to win in the end. And that's all we're asking for. Let's not beat ourselves. And if we execute our game plan, then we think we can play with anybody.
Good deal, man. Well, certainly good luck with this week of preparation and then getting out there on Friday night. You guys have been an awesome story to reach this point. As you mentioned, a lot of excitement still to continue adding to that legacy for these guys.
Yes, sir. We thank you for covering us and giving us the opportunity to speak to you guys, man. We really appreciate it.
Good deal. Again, he's Coach Toriano Wells up at General Trass High School, getting ready for this quarterfinal matchup with St. Helena this week, and for Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser.